good buddy Jay Mohr.
My man.
Oh, dude, this is great. I'm so excited
This is
you're
quite
here.
a setup. You're making me look bad.
No, I'm following you. I told you.
Yeah, but you superseded. This is like Peter Brady brought home the tiki torch.
Right?
You get the workout gear. You got two guys working for you that dress the same way somehow. Got to get a camera on these two guys.
Oh, we have a camera on them.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
That's your first mistake.
That's my son and his best friend.
Yeah,
And that's my best friend over there in the
his
corner.
name is Easy.
Easy. Easy does it.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah.
But dude, what have you been doing?
My podcast, More Stories.
Yeah,
baby.
tell me about it.
Well, I did it for More Stories. I did for 8 years, 7.5 years, and then I went to rehab, and then I stopped doing it, obviously. But boy, it's funny because like you pull up those old episodes towards the end, it's just me doing life coach advice, but I'm just complete.
high.
Oh, I'm high as balls. I'm just railed out. I'm like, this is how you deal with negative self-talk. And the advice is great, but it's like my voice is all high and tinny, and then the guests get like, it goes from like David Lee Roth, Perry Farrell, Henry Rollins, the drummer from the Police, Stuart Copeland, like all my comedian friends.
Really?
Rufus Wainwright and all these, and then it's just like local DJ from Rochester, New York.
Oh.
This guy once saw Steven Tyler take a dump. But
Are you at this time when this is happening? Are you knowing what's happening? Are you knowing you're losing grip or no? Like when you see you
I
started
thought
with
everybody
David
was
Roth.
like jerks and, classic. My
Yeah.
my Indian name is Blames Others. And I had the Scalar brothers on towards the end, and I gave them the wrong address to my house.
No.
And I'm in my house like, how could they, instead of like, I'll just make 15, I'm like, it's 15, 15, 4. Like, you got to be really high to add a number to your address.
Right. Did they make it or no?
They were in like El Segundo, like, bro, we don't see a house. I'm like, bro, you guys.
What about when you're doing stand up and you're on the road? Are you
My
like
wife
were you doing a lot of touring at that time or no?
I was trying, but the opportunities get less and less, and you just sort of look. If you look at my IMDb page, it's obvious. You
Yeah.
go from working with like Forrest Whitaker, Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves, and then there's a huge gap. Then there's a talking dog movie, and that's straight to video, and I'm not even like a lead talking dog. I'm a receptionist at Chewy Vuitton.
But does anybody know what's happening?
Everybody knows but me.
But do you know
Like
when
in
it
my
started?
family.
When did it start for you? Like when did you start to go, fuck, it's getting out of...
When I ran out.
Yeah.
And I'm not being flippant. It's when Adderall was my last jam, or like when I ran out of, Norcos, pain pills, and Adderall. And when I ran out, it was the panic of realizing I don't have enough pills, and this person, the plug doesn't have what I need. There's gonna be a gap between me running out and getting re-upped.
Yeah.
Was like, oh no. And then when you're on a lot of Adderall, when you get off of it, all of a sudden, my side effect was I actually could not keep my eyes open. Like pain pills,
Yeah.
it's like a weird deep, nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
The trash guy.
No,
again.
leave it. More stories you'd hear like, I did it in my garage in the Palisades, and you just hear like leaf blowers and shit in the background. Guys are talking about getting,
Oh yeah, turn that off.
yeah, why would I be comfortable?
You know what's funny?
Easy.
You're in
What's your real name, Ezra?
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel, okay.
It's like Ezekiel, but it's supposed to be Spanish. But
No, it's Ezekiel.
yeah, my
But what is it?
well, my dad never taught me Spanish.
Why?
I don't know. He was on drugs,
See?
so we just never. And,
We're all about it in here.
My
love
rugby
these
coach
guys.
just called me Easy because they didn't know.
Easy smokes pot.
Okay.
I just thought I'd let you know.
What are you, 7? Easy smokes pot.
Well, we thought we were like concerned one time we were talking and we had Nikki P on and we're talking about sober companioning and then somehow segued to Easy and he's new at pot. It's a new thing for him.
How old are you?
25. I'm gonna be 26 though soon.
I started at 19. 19 was my first rip of pot. And
Dude, that's late.
I know, that's my point. It's a beach house with a Jersey Shore with like a house where you're supposed to have like 4 people, like super tiny Airbnb.
Yeah.
It was like 18 Guidos and me. Right. And I just remember hitting this joint and I was in this big Barca lounger chair and I just like sunk into the chair and I was like, oh, okay. You know the Bugs Bunny where they smash ether and they breathe it in and he's chasing him through the mental hospital? Come back here, right? And he trips in slow motion. That's how I felt, but I never left my chair.
Did it keep going from there?
You're always chasing that first time.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you get into anything else? Like my thing was Coke. I loved Coke.
Yeah.
Right? Me and Sean.
Smells awesome.
But Sean was my running buddy, you know.
I know. I love that.
He was,
you guys got after it.
To
like
the
that.
end.
Who got sober first? Sean got sober first.
Year and a half before me, yeah. But we worked at
Sell
places. We parked cars at Gladstone's, and we worked at this one restaurant towards the end. It was a high-end, high-end restaurant. A lot of movie stars, celebrities would go there and hide out. And they were selling Coke out of the back. It was like a front, and they would pay us.
It's like the Marina
in
Center.
Coke. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, they'd be like, do you want your paycheck or do you want an 8-ball? And we would quickly do the math. Could probably make more money if I...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take the drugs.
Imagine if you got your paycheck and then you could sell your paycheck to other guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's amazing.
That was the plan.
I'll give you my paycheck for some more paychecks.
Right.
Parking cars is like a dream gig. I mean, they made the movie The Flamingo Kid about it. One of the best. Matt Damon's best performance
Oh, yeah.
as Jeffrey.
That's right.
And once, when I first met my wife, I got a divorce. I was staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I asked her to do my podcast on Twitter. And she's good.
Jeannie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said yes. And then we did the podcast. When she came off the elevator, for me, it was love at first sight. She has a different experience. And
Which I want to ask you about that.
yeah, so I interviewed her on my radio show.
Right.
And on the phone, I was like, I'm getting vibes from this phone call during an interview. I'm like, I'm getting vibes. So then.
And you're high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right.
if you do radio and you're not high, it's a sad job.
And was it delusional, do you think? Or was it like, were you really getting vibes?
I mean, I married her. So in hindsight, players play, bro. You know what I mean, though.
I got you, baby.
It's like you just get a vibe like, I could close this.
Which is crazy because I was talking to Sean about it today and these guys, and I got to ask, like, how did you, because to be honest, she's way out of your league. Let's be honest.
Oh,
wait a minute.
I've always hit for power, not average. When you guys are out running and just banging sixes, I was always like, all right, I'm going to go home and go to sleep. And then when I arrive, it's like, oh, I've always hit for power, not average.
She's incredible. She's super smart.
She's ridiculous.
She's beautiful.
Yes.
She
Sometimes
owns the greatest franchise in the world.
Let's go.
Right?
Right, Lakers.
Right?
Orderly.
And I'm serious. When
I know you are.
When you were getting married and I knew you were going on there, to be honest, I was going, something's not right about this.
What? Why?
Listen.
You know me as like the best version of me.
You're a great guy.
Who should she be with?
But you're a drug addict.
Right.
Right?
In recovery. Like, who's better?
But why would she be with you is what I want to know. Because
it ain't for my looks or my money.
But Sean always says, all you got to do is Sean's motto was always, you got to be nice and funny.
Bro, any guy that you see with a hot chick and you're like, how'd he get her? He said hi.
Yeah.
Look at Sean's wife. She's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, he smokes pot.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So I asked her to do my podcast. She said, so we do the interview on the phone. I'm like, huh. So I slide into the DMs on Twitter and I said, I have a podcast. I'd love for you to come on, blah, blah, blah. She says yes.
Yeah.
I immediately leave my wife. No. No, I had gotten a divorce and I was staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel. She came over. So here's the weird thing. As she's like, okay, I'm on my way. I'll be there, whatever, this time. I realize I'm in a hotel room with a bed and a chair. This is bizarre.
This is perfect.
Oh no, I was like, this is bad. It's all
He's
about.
all planned. He knows what's up.
No, I panicked. I went downstairs. I got like the biggest suite they had. I run back to the suite. A lot of me running around early in this relationship. And then she's like, okay, I'm here. I'm like, okay. And I walked to the elevator to meet her, and the green elevator door opened, palm tree carpet, and it was just, she came to me in slow motion, is the only way I can describe it. And her thing with me was, we were both
Yeah.
coming out of enormous relationships.
Right.
She was with Phil Jackson, and
Right.
I was with my wife at the time. They were going through this divorce. So I invite her to come see me do stand-up at the Improv. Then that's how you close the deal, right?
Yeah.
Once she gets a load of me. And I go on stage. She brings like 8 friends, and she gives out the ultimatum, like, we're not staying. As soon as he walks off stage, we're out. But she doesn't know that as soon as I walk off stage, I'm out. So we were just bound to bottleneck. And I walk on stage. I hate having things in my pockets on stage or in general.
Yeah.
So I walk on stage, or if I sit, like Secretary of Media today, I just start taking things out of my pocket. I walk on stage, I take my can of chewing tobacco out, I put it on the piano at the Improv. I take out my keys, I put it on the piano. I take out my wallet, I put it on the, I'm just like, how's everybody doing? I take out a wad of cash, I put it on the piano. I had something out, like notes, I take, and her exact words were, I was like, oh, he's a mess.
See?
Women love a fixer-upper.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? That's kind of where I was going. She's got her whole life, which seems to be amazing, right? And then here you are, because I always ask my wife, just the other day, I go, what was it that attracted you? Because she always talks about what a pig I was. And I go, why were you attracted to me? And she goes, because you look like an asshole. And why is that something that's attractive to women, you know? And
that is a thing.
And then she, her friend goes, well, you thought you were going to change him. And women think they're going to change you. And my wife goes, I did change him. Because I shower and I clean up now, and I didn't used to. I used to be a
funny
pig.
that you said it. It's like we spend our time like, I'm going to be really nice to her. And it's like the guys that are crushing ass constantly are just jerks.
Right.
It's so weird.
Why is that?
If I could do it all, if I could do being single over again, I'd be an asshole, and I would say I was a massage therapist. Like that, like forget a comedian. Tell me a joke. You used to do jokes about my uncle. He's got a mustache. Just I'm a massage therapist. Oh,
Right.
they just lean into you right away. I'm gonna make sure I didn't answer this by mistake.
You want a coffee? Coffee's ready.
Oh my God, sure. This is delightful.
Right?
Let me take care of you here, baby.
Yeah, do it.
Look at my hand shaking
Yeah.
from that. No.
You know what's funny? Dude, you're such a fucking nice guy, and I got a funny story I got to tell you. I got to make an amends to you.
Oh, but real quick,
Yeah.
parking cars. I'm staying at that hotel for a while.
And what hotel? To Beverly Hills?
Beverly Hills Hotel, formerly owned by Robbie Anderson. Fuck yeah. And Jesus. I'm recording right now. Leave me alone.
Want a donut?
I can't talk.
You want a donut?
No, thank you.
What?
You should have like 6 of them though.
I do normally.
like Jiminy Glick. Just keep wedging them in there.
Sure.
Is my story this bad? Is it that bad?
No, it's great. It's great.
So 2 nights later, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, just hanging out. She goes, I'm 5 minutes away from the hotel. I'll see you in a minute. I was like, whoa, no. Just panic for no reason. Not just like, cool. I was like, oh, no. So I immediately have to go in my car and just go get something.
Yeah.
Which is, I didn't need anything. But I was like, I'm going to go get a can of Kodiak chewing tobacco. Not sponsored. So I run downstairs and I'm like, I need my car. And they go, all right. And I see my keys. I take my keys. They go, you can't get it yourself. I'm like, yeah. And I pull out and I sideswipe a Ferrari.
No.
You know the ones they leave out front because it looks good for the hotel?
You didn't.
I just like, I take my wallet and I toss it to the guy. I go, I'll be back.
Oh, my
I'll pay for everything. I get to the gas station. I can't buy anything because I gave the guy my wallet. So I just panic and I drive back and I get out and there's just this complete whiskey kiss across the side of my car. And then she pulls up at the same time. I'm like, hey, so what's going on?
Holding it together.
Just hanging out. Like, what's up? It's like sweaty.
But you pulled it off.
Yeah.
Right?
She's the best. She was at my intervention, and it was like, I thought, when you're at an intervention, you spend the whole time like, which one of you did this? And I was
Right.
pretty sure it was her.
You think she started it? Put it
I
together.
thought she didn't. I thought it was my agent. I thought it was her. So I'm packing for rehab. Talk about an underrated pack. Like, I don't know.
So
like-
you agreed to go. You're like, I'm going.
Oh, yeah. I knew.
Who was at the intervention?
My agent, my business manager, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, my landlord when I lived in Malibu,
Your landlord.
an opening act of mine, 2 opening acts of mine, a friend of mine, my assistant, the producer of my podcast, my son's nanny, and her daughter. She didn't speak English. This little Mexican lady just sitting
But
on the
she's
couch
there.
with a rosary. Borracho mejor. And yeah. And, I say it in my shares when I'm at my first addiction is your approval.
Right.
So the fastest way to get the room back on my side was just to go, yeah, no, I'm going, yeah.
Right.
Plus, I saw that show Intervention enough, and people that don't go, I rooted against them.
Well, you want him to go, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
of
like
course
I
you want
said-
him to go.
The truth of the matter is, you're a super fucking great guy, and when we're getting high or we lose that, we're gone. I know when I was getting high or loaded, I was somebody else. The nice me was in there.
And that's what Jeannie saw, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, somehow she saw what I'd covered up with dirt. So tell me how you owe me an amends. I'm a little interested in this.
Well, I'm fucking nuts. I'm still nuts. My mind will spin out of control, right? So, you're this great guy. I met you when you got sober, and
The more you say it, the more anxious I get about this amends.
well, I'm just setting up how nuts I am. So, hold on. Sorry. I can't. Look at my fucking pants.
Nickety glick.
I can't resist these glazed jellies from my.
I'm gonna hit one on the way out. Don't kid yourself. I just know I got stories to tell.
So,
More Stories podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
but here's what happened, right? So, I go, what a fucking great guy you are. We did that little movie together, right? Which we didn't get to hang out much. And then we started doing this podcast, but I was doing a one-man show. I called you, I texted you, and I would text you throughout over periods of time. I'd tell Sean, this fucking Jay,
Yeah, I know where this
he doesn't fucking call me back. And Sean goes, he called me back. And I didn't say anything, right? And then months go on, I have some other thing I'm doing, a party, I text you. I don't say anything because I'm embarrassed that you're calling and texting everyone but me, right? So in my mind, this guy's a fucking asshole, right? And then I see on Instagram your new podcast, and you reached out to me on Instagram, and I said, I would love it if you would be on my podcast. And you go, hit me up. I'm here to. So fucking right away, I text you, and this motherfucker does not text me back. And I go, he's doing it on purpose. In my mind, you're setting me up for failure. You're like, I see you sitting around with a bunch of your buddies. Watch, I'm going to text Nick James right now. Watch this. And I tell Sean this. Again, I go, dude, and so then we have Johnny over here on the podcast. Afterwards, Johnny, Johnny Solace. He goes, dude, this is great. He goes, you got to get Jay on here in front of these guys. I go, fuck Jay.
I hope you said it on camera.
I go, that guy's a fucking asshole. right. And Johnny goes, what? Why? I go, I've been calling that guy. I let it out. Like, we never fucking called me back. And Johnny goes, well, do you have his new number? So then he goes, here, give me your phone because I'm old and I can't look. And he's looking. He goes, dude, that's his old number. And then my wife grabs it. And she goes, he sent you his new number almost a year ago. So then, right away, I text you to be on. And you're like, dude, brother, that would be great. So I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I...
Keep going. Amends have us.
Yeah. Do it the
I'm
right
really...
way, man.
I'm sorry that I called you a fucking asshole and thought these horrible thoughts about you because I'm crazy and it's untreated alcoholism.
Okay.
And if there's anything I could do to make it right, please let me know.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to a meeting after this, and all I have is a $100 bill, so I don't have to break it. Give me $5 for the basket.
You got it, brother.
Done.
Easy done.
My man. Yeah, I was like, there's no way I'd have given Nick J my number. He's so important to me.
But I
remember coming over here and reading the book with you.
I know, but you see how you
Chaka
create.
dropped his toys on my feet.
You create stories in your mind that aren't true.
Chaka definitely has some weird crew cut on his head. He was bushier.
Well, he did get a cut.
Right.
He got a little cut.
He doesn't like it.
You got to get him stripped. They strip it.
He doesn't like whatever this thing is, this crew cut, because usually when he sees me, he goes batshit.
Well, he hates it in here.
Today he was like, hey.
No, he don't like this room in here.
I know I look like.
You look good.
I feel good.
You look.
No, I was
I'm not
imitating
kidding.
Chaka. I know I look like a crew cut guy. I love that dog. What is it about dogs?
You got a great dog. What do you have?
3 great dogs. A Yorkie
the-
that's
the
18
Yorkie.
that's just practicing to die. She just sleeps all day. And I got a teacup Yorkie, a teacup Maltese, and a teacup Pomeranian. The Pomeranian's the one that,
That's the puffy one.
oh my God, Birdie.
Yeah.
Her real name was, they're all named after women in film. So Mabel was Mabel Longhetti from the movie Woman Under the Influence, Jenna Rollins.
And who are the other ones?
Ellie Mae, my wife named Ellie Mae Clampett. And then Birdie was Margot Channing from All About Eve. But it was Margot Channing Security, like a business card. Because she was so ridiculous looking that this dog would be the security guard. And when my son was a baby, he couldn't say security. So he went Birdie. So she just became Birdie. And she's such Birdie. Oh, every day people are like, oh, do you know how great your dog is? I'm like, no, literally 8 times a day I go, oh my God.
He is a real dog guy, because when you came over to my house the first time and you saw Chaka, we were going to go up and, read the book or whatever and hang out. And he all of a sudden look around, and you're fucking laying on the floor with the dog. First time he comes to my house, and me and April, it was awkward. Because I was going, well, let's go up and read. And you're like, Chaka.
Well, I just gave Chaka invisible snacks.
Yeah.
See, I do that to dogs. It makes people laugh. I just think it's great because
They're
all
the
dogs,
best.
dogs just,
They
People
don't
like-
care if you're a fucking asshole.
they can tell.
They can tell, but I mean,
Like Kevin McLaughlin comes to my house and my dogs like pee themselves happy. Like,
Yeah.
or Greg Baldwin. There's just certain guys when they walk in a room, dogs are like, it's that guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're that guy.
Menza. Peter Miller and Holden's dog Rip. I made that dog like me because he's like, he doesn't like people he doesn't know yet. So I'm like, he's gonna know me by the end of this 1-hour meeting. So I just grabbed the dog, put him in my lap. He's like, I'm like, shut up. People, I love dog. But people like that love cats. I don't know, man.
You don't like cats?
What's the like?
Easy likes cats. Sean hates cats.
Those long, creepy crab arms.
They're kind of bizarre.
Litter
Cats.
boxes. There's a box of shit in your house. And it's just a normal thing. And it's by your
true.
laundry.
It's true. And my dad used to take, when he smoked cigars, my job was to clean the cat box. As a kid, my dad used to smoke cigars and he'd throw them in the cat box.
I love it.
I
get it. I would do that.
It was gross. And those same cigars, he was gross too. We had in the 70s.
My dad was gross.
He was. He had a Maverick. Remember the Ford Mavericks? And we'd be in there in Cleveland, where I grew up, in the winter with the windows rolled up, freezing cold. And he would take his cigars, and he'd save them, and he'd throw them in the dash between the windshield and the crack, and they'd get stuck in there. And you'd turn the fucking heater on, it would blow this disgusting.
Sounds like an old newspaper man. I got a big scoop. See? A litter box. Every day, if you have and I had a cat with a litter box once. Every day you look at this litter box and you go, not yet. I'm not going to waste my time with 3 pieces of sesame chicken. I'm going to wait until it's overflowing. I want it to be like that game in the carnival with the arm and the coins, and you're like, if I just put one more coin in.
Right, that's scooping the prizes.
I'm going to wait until my cat has to cup his nuts and put his asshole over the edge of it and reverse Jenga the dump in there. You go to a girl's house and she's like, you want to come in and meet my cat? You're like, hey, you're close.
And they're sleeping in the bed.
But if you go, you want to come in and meet my dog? Yeah.
Does your dog sleep in your bed?
Yeah.
Mine too. Under the sheets?
No, they don't. The Pomeranian gets too hot.
But you'll let him.
Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah. Chaka does. He sleeps between our two faces.
He doesn't want any funny business. Every time we go to have sex, the Maltese has to get in the bed. And she's like, just ignore her. I'm like, you're not the one that has to keep an erection. Like, you just got to lay down. I got to, like, and I'm only going to last 2 minutes. I got to pull out twice the last 2 minutes. I'm the worst. It's awful, dude. It's the worst. Are you a long time guy when you do it? Show us.
I'm 61. And for me, and this is my son, I feel kind of awkward talking about my son. But
Tell me about when you bang his mom.
look at him, look at him, look at him. You know what? He tells my wife this shit, and what do I say?
He's like, it's fucking gross.
He
Stop
starts
it."
talking. I don't want to hear about it. But you know,
How long do you last on average? And with what frequency?
to be honest,
guys,
I'm going to be totally honest. Sean knows. I tell Sean these things. My wife's like very like not now, and you know we've been together for 30 years.
I'll talk to her.
And so you know you have fantasies, right? And finally, we were gonna get down, and I always tell her like 5 minutes of fun, just 5 minutes of fun. What's the big deal? And this one time I'm watching porn videos and getting ideas and stuff like that.
Pre-game.
And one time, so we're in the
You
bed.
have a donut on your face the last half hour?
Oh,
Like on your cheek, right?
It's up high. He wedged it into his eye.
but we're getting down, right? And she's just like looks at me. Sometimes she'll look up at me and just start laughing because she doesn't even care, right?
Oh,
And this one time, like I had this fucking idea, and I saw this guy in a porn video. He put his leg on the floor, and he looked like he was getting all this leverage. And so me and April are getting down. And and I know her. She'll fucking call me on it. And I slowly took my leg off, and I put it on the floor. And she goes, "What are you doing?" She goes, "What, did you learn that in one of your porn videos?" And it went,
right. It's touch and go.
it's terrible.
We're sensitive guys. It's touch and go.
Yeah.
Guys that are not, like guys that can just,
Oh, no.
I
I can't be distracted.
I can't have the Food Network on. I can't hear a mixer.
Oh, yeah.
Let
Let me tell you, and you're in the midst, and you're getting down, and your wife's just waiting for it to be up, and she starts laughing at you in your face. It's really hard to keep it going.
That makes me sad. You're like a gorgeous, hot guy.
But we've been, like I said, we've been together for 30 years. So you have to find, like I have to massage her. If we're going to do it, I have to do a full 30-minute rub down.
She sounds like a real pain in the ass.
But she's hot,
Yeah, for sure.
so I'll do it. I'll do the rub down.
People are like, I can't. You know, my wife and I have separate beds, right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Why would I know that? Oh, yeah, I know.
No, I don't know. We talk about it a lot.
But tell me about that.
When we got,
Why?
it was her idea. She goes, if we get married, before I proposed to her, she goes, when we get married, we don't have to share a bedroom. And I was like, I almost got on my knee like that moment. Like, I don't want to watch House Hunters every night.
Right.
Women got to watch House every night. House Hunt. Which one do you think he'll pick? One out of the three. Look at this one. Oh, this is a little out of the price range. You know what? But I don't like the tile floor. Shut up. Ugh. Women love House Hunters.
But back to the separate beds.
Yeah.
So you guys are in separate beds.
We're in separate apartments. She lives above me. What? Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
But it's one house.
It's a 3-apartment townhouse. I'm on the first and second floor. There's 2 judges between us. And then my wife.
Really?
So my friend Chappie goes, I like it. Every time you guys see each other, it's proof you're making time for each other. You're not like, you don't have
Will you spend the night at her place or no?
No.
Or will she come down and spend the night at yours?
No, it's like mornings. Like I wake up, I text her when I after I do my, call my guy and pray, meditate, write my gratitude list, do my things. I text her good morning. Then we walk to Starbucks together, and then we have breakfast, and then I get on 8 a.m. Zoom, and she sits over there and does some work stuff, and then she goes, okay, I'm going to go to physical therapy, or I'm going to work. All right. Then she texts me when she gets home. Like today, she got flowers waiting for her at work. You know how I get down, bro.
There you go. You know what to do. You got to do that.
We hang out. It's like we spend every day, there's nothing, and I can't believe I'm saying this and actually meaning it on my 3rd marriage. There's no one I want to spend time with more than my wife.
That's good.
She's my best friend.
Let me tell you something. I watched the podcast when you had your wife on, your podcast on, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote in there, I said, I'm in love with these guys. Because I'm telling you, I'm not.
We're ahead.
I've been with my wife, like I said, for 30 years. Totally faithful, never cheated on her. Sean knows I've got the greatest record ever. And the reason is because you go through all these peaks and valleys. And if you can survive the low points and you get through, you go, this is my partner. And you're all changed throughout your life. And when you find somebody that's willing to love you, which is a big deal, I think, for guys like, I don't know about you, but for a guy like me, you know, I come with a lot of baggage. I'm a little nutty, right?
You might not be the best narrator about that.
No, but
I don't think you have as much baggage. As
no,
you
I
think.
don't. But I'm just saying, over time, I've learned that I'm the one that's lucky. And the reason I'm lucky with my wife is I get to love her. There's nothing better than being in love.
She's lucky too, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what she feels. I'm in love still after 30 years. And to be in love, there's no feeling like being in love.
Yeah.
When you're in love, that's the fucking best, dude.
When you're home alone and you kind of imagine they're watching you, so you act a little differently.
Like what?
You ever do that? Like when you were a kid, you get a crush on a girl and you're like,
oh yeah.
If she was watching me, I'd be doing this instead.
right. But the crush, that's the crush,
Yeah.
right? And it depends on how I want to look at my wife.
Huge crush on my wife, yeah.
You know, I remember when I got my yard all fixed up and I got a new hot tub. And I was sitting out there and the yard was mine, right? And I had all these pavers laid out and my yard perfectly and every plant. And I'd sit in there every morning with my coffee and go, man, this is fucking, I got it dialed in. And then one day I saw at the back,
broom, yeah.
A broom.
I love this guy.
I told you this?
A long time ago.
And there was this broom fucking sitting there leaning against the fence. And I went through who put that fucking broom there? And I got so pissed because it ruined my perfect yard. And then I realized the broom was there because my wife had swept up my perfect yard. And then all of a sudden my perception changed.
She could have put it away, though.
I know.
My wife just can't put dishes in the dishwasher for some reason.
Does she wash them?
Eventually.
So she'll come down to your place.
No, like it's usually the dog's 3 separate little dishes. And when they're done eating, she'll pick them up, run water on them, and set them down in the sink. And I say the same thing every time. Oh, you got so close to the dishwasher. And then one day I came, and they were in the other side of the sink, closer to the. That was her like, fuck you. She does everything else. Like, who cares? But I don't think you have as much baggage as you think. Because I think sobriety. Well, we know that sobriety. The whole thing is putting the bags down, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like...
What's a guy like you make?
What do you mean?
Well, what are we looking at?
Nothing.
Joke question. Jesus.
No, I'm perfectly willing to answer that question.
Joke question.
No.
I was at breakfast with my sponsor in Boston. I was on the road doing stand-up. And that week, December 7th, I asked her to marry me. I was on the road like the 12th and 13th in Boston. We're having breakfast, and he just looks up. He goes, do you know how lucky Jeannie is to marry you? Never dawned on me. Never crossed my mind that she was getting a good deal, too.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I can see, like the fact that we found each other is great. And this is your only wife ever?
I got married in a blackout. No joke.
That's amazing.
To a Brazilian girl who didn't speak English.
Perfect.
It was until she learned to speak English. It was perfect.
How long were you married?
7 years.
That's the best.
I didn't notice.
But you know what? I was drinking and using like crazy, and so was she.
And fucking.
Oh yeah. But the thing was,
Brazilians put it down a little different.
she was nuts.
The jiu-jitsu shit.
Listen, not nuts. And I don't mean nuts in a bad way. She was fucking great. I used to make up stories about her that it was her fault and this and that because we partied hard together. But the truth of the matter was she was fantastic, and I spent years, coming up with stories about her that weren't true, to make myself feel better. And the truth of the matter was, She was fucking awesome.
Yeah, you don't have to prove your valor. You lived with somebody that spoke Portuguese. You did your time. Like that's the kookiest language. It's like
I thought it was a beautiful language.
Sure. Portuguese is like you're reading Spanish, but somebody typed it on a typewriter that was missing 8 letters. Everything's like,
I don't know. She would speak and it just would roll off her tongue, and it was beautiful.
yeah.
And then we'd do a couple more lines.
Yeah. And then you pretend you didn't have any more.
No, I would make my friends pretend like I wasn't married. No one was allowed to talk about it.
Oh.
So, right?
Yeah.
He had a Brazilian girlfriend. I met her in the parking lot, I think. Well, no, through my Brazilian roommate, who was a coke dealer.
Yeah, we had matching Brazilian.
Where's all these Brazilians coming into Santa Monica? It's like the Underground Railroad.
Dude.
Here. Huh?
Gladstone's parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Those guys are Brazilian?
They were all valet parkers. They just showed up.
A lot of great whites behind Gladstones,
What is? Oh, Great White.
Yeah.
The babies.
Oh, yeah.
But a baby is like 6 feet.
Well, my buddy, you ever see that picture of the huge great white that's leaping out of the water?
Which, like, there's one photo. Is that it? Did you just text it to me?
No, there's no, seriously. This guy, Randy Wright, this guy grew up with a surfer. He caught a photo of this like 20-foot great white leaping out at sunset right off of Gladstone's there.
Ugh.
And he was out there, and he heard these Mexican guys that were fishing said they saw this great white. He came out with his kayak, his telephoto lens, and he just sat there and he waited patiently. They said it came around 10 o'clock. They saw it. And he tells the story, and he said it was super eerie. He said all of a sudden it felt like it got really still and quiet. And he had his camera ready, and this fucking thing leaped out of the water, this 20-foot, and he snapped the picture.
Wow.
And he kind of lost his mind. I don't know if it's true, but he lives in his truck at sunset.
It's true.
For I mean, for
But that's
years.
interesting. Like, it's almost like before a fight, you feel that vibe change. Like, you go into a club, you're like, something's off here. And then, like, some crazy fight breaks out. Like, the molecules change. And I remember I had Gabby Reese and Laird Hamilton on my podcast, and they were just explaining surfing in Hawaii somewhere. And she goes, and then it just got, like, real sharky.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go, wait, what?
Yeah.
And she thought I was joking. Like, everybody knows when something gets sharky.
Yeah, no, that's...
She goes, I'm like, you saw...
That's
she
a weird
goes,
feeling.
No, it got real sharky. And
Yeah.
you know that feeling? I don't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was in Japan and I saw the Yakuza at a club. And then I
That's
left.
Sharky.
Yeah, Sharky.
Well, that's a weird...
But
the
that's
same
visual confirmation. We're talking about just the vibe.
Well, when I went to Kauai, remember Bethany, the pro surfer that lost her
yeah,
arm?
yeah.
So I was there with my buddy Pete Gulkey, and
The
he had
comedian?
huh? You know Pete?
I know of him.
Yeah.
Being a comic guy.
Oh yeah, he's been on here. We have Pete on here. He's my writing partner for a long time, good friend. But Pete and I were working.
He's holding you back.
That's what my agent used to say. I got rid of him.
No, every time I make a joke, you take me serious. All right.
No. So Pete invites me over to Kauai, right? We were working on something, and he had this little house he built. And we goes, we got to get up early and go surf. I said, all right, let's go. So we walked down. He lived right by the surf spot in Kauai. The sun's just coming up, and it got sharky. We're about to paddle out. There's no one around. It was a long paddle at this point. And before we get in, he goes, you know where we are, don't you? No. He goes, you know Bethany who lost her arm? And I go, yeah. He goes, right out there. And we had to paddle out through the channel, and that was the longest. But, it gets still and quiet, and you feel like weird shit's going to go down. But
I almost drowned this summer. Speaking of water.
wait, I think I
Oh, yeah.
heard about
wait,
this.
wait.
I heard
Right
about
at Bay
this.
Street?
Yeah. It was crazy.
What happened?
It got sharky. At the beach meeting, we swim to the buoy afterwards.
Yeah,
And it's not a pleasant swim.
right.
But when you're done, you feel like it's about 300 yards.
Yeah.
So at a subtide, nothing to it. But at, mid to medium to high tide, you're like, it's effort. So I get out there and I grabbed the buoy. For some reason, I was just like, I got to just get my shit together when I got to the buoy. Which
Yeah.
is, I don't know. And then it was just, the ocean that day just seemed massive,
Yeah.
which it is.
Right.
But I was just aware of the fact
Well,
that
that's
I was
pretty far out too, though. That's
It's
pretty far.
very far
Yeah.
out. way past the pier.
Like 150 yards, right?
No, it's 300 yards.
Okay.
I said it earlier. I'm glad you're paying attention. So, and I'm a swimmer, wrestler, swimmer. I'm a water guy. Like, this is what I do. And I'm holding on to the buoy, and like everything was going wrong. I stood on that rope
Yeah.
that attaches the buoy, and I was just covered in shrimp. Like I was wearing, it looked like I was wearing a body sweater. Right. And I was like, ah, shit. And then I just became aware of the fact I'm just this sack of meat covered in little sacks of meat.
Yeah.
And I'm just swimming, and I'm like, you know, you're swimming about 10 minutes, and you don't feel any closer to shore. Like I was in that like first 100 yards. I was like, man, I started getting that like, ooh, this is kind of my little anxious.
Yeah.
And I'm with a crew with Mark Feller, Sam, who's a pro wrestler. Her wrestling name's Americana.
Oh, yeah, I know
She's
her.
she's badass.
Yeah, she's great.
And Christian Steele, newcomers behind me. And I'm like, we should all swim together, right? Like I start those little help.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, Mark. And Mark's like, where your son is. And I go, we should swim together. And he goes, all right. And everyone's just having a nice leisurely swim. And I'm just like, this is really, I've done it many, many times to swim. And then I start going, wow, this is like how I feel before I have a panic attack. This would be a weird place to have a panic. I wonder if you can swim.
Are you thinking this now?
This is all my thoughts. I go, what? This is weird. Like, this is like, whoa, like just, and then I'm like, I'm just going to swim like I'm in a pool, like swimming freestyle. But every time you get breath, it's waves. And it's like, I'm like, wow, these people that swim freestyle in the ocean, that's like a whole different skill set. And I'm like, I wonder if you can swim while you're having a panic attack. No.
Oh.
You cannot. And I go, hey, Mark. And he goes, you doing okay? I go, no.
Listen to the voice. Hey, Mark.
And he comes over and he's like, you all right? I go, I'm having a panic attack. I'm not okay. And we are fucking out there, dude. Right. Like, it's not like you can just like get up and go to the bathroom and get your shit together. Like it's you in the ocean, and the ocean's kicking your ass. And the first thing he does is grab my arm. I'm like, get the fuck off me. Like, don't grab a swimmer. Right. I'm like, and then we're getting a little closer. I'm like, just, and then I see the surf. Now I start to see the surfers. They're about 50 yards away, and I go, I need that surfboard right now. And fucking Sam and Mark swam like they had propellers in their asses, like over, like, we need your surfboard. And this guy, Alec, I'll never forget his name. He comes out, and I'm just like, hey, and like the lifeguards are waiting for me when I come in.
Yeah.
And I drop Mark off at his house. We stayed on the beach about 2 hours after that. It was like, wow, that was crazy.
Did you just swim sideways? They swam you sideways.
No, I was on his surfboard.
But did they swim sideways or they swim straight in?
No, we went straight in.
Okay.
And now that I'm on a surfboard, I'm like, I got it. I'm fine. But I wasn't fine. And it really shook me. But then when I dropped Mark off 2.5 hours later, I realized I didn't think of God one time.
Why? What was it?
I was such a prisoner of my thoughts. I was in like this cement bunker.
Right.
And there was zero. It was like a tank.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
I said panic.
Oh,
Just
panic. But I was like in a
Yeah.
cement tank.
Yeah.
Just, there was no other bondage of self. Like, yeah.
What about embarrassment?
Nah, I don't give a shit.
You didn't have any embarrassment?
I'm not an embarrassed guy. I don't give a- Once you get caught jerking off by your parents,
I got caught by my dad twice.
I got caught by my assistant once.
You did?
A beautiful Saudi girl.
How?
I was in Malibu, high as balls. It's like 11 in the morning. I took a shower after a paddle, and I had a neck massager, but like the big old school one that you plug into the wall.
The kind that fits in your ass.
If you're sad enough. I'm like this, butt naked. And I open my eyes, and she's right there. I was like, and she just leaves, and I go, it's exactly what it looks like. So no, I'm embarrassed. I'm a comedian, like,
I know.
who cares? So it really, what shook me was the complete lack of faith or any access to a higher power by my own doing. That shook me more than the almost drown. So I decided at 3 years sober to start to meditate. It took me drowning to actually do the 11th step the way it's supposed to be done. It took an intervention for me to get to step one. It took 3 years later, me almost drowning and needing to be rescued at sea
Yeah.
to do because pray and meditate.
Right.
Like
How do you, let me ask you, how do you meditate? How do you do it? Everybody has their own way, but what do you do?
I set a timer and I sit and I do, in my mind, I say the 11th step, sought through prayer and meditation, improve our conscious contact with God. And then I love what it says in the 12 and 12, meditation is our step out into the light. And I just kind of picture like that emergence into like sunlight. I'm a sun guy. And then I go to I really like the Alan Watts thing I heard once, which is take the farthest sound. This is what really kind of clicks me in is take the farthest sound. I can't do it I meditate like 5:30 in the morning, so there's really no sounds. But if it's middle of the day, take the farthest sound you hear. Now, what's the closest sound you hear? Now let them go. It's like, wow, there's an airplane and the car right outside here unloading. Like, I just feel that kind of harmonious action there. And then I just remind myself, like, no, I'm just sitting in a chair. I'm just sitting in, like, because I'd be like, oh, I need to call. So, nope, just sitting. That'll be there. Just sitting in a chair. So, and then the timer goes off. And sometimes it goes by so quick. And then sometimes you feel like you're breaking the sound barrier. Like, how fucking long is this?
Will you get that back? Will the mind start spinning later for you? Like, do you find it later in the day? Like, sometimes for me, if I meditate in the morning, I get through it. I feel fantastic. Then my day starts to catch up with me again later in the day. Do you know what I'm saying? And then my mind starts to spin again.
I'm blessed.
And then I'm out in front of my skis again.
I'm a lucky guy. There's not a lot going on up here. It's just not. Like, it's just two Legos floating around, and when I have an idea, they click together, and they just, like, I'm just killing. Like, I got a meeting at noon. I'm going to take a nap at 2. I'm going to bring some shit to the firemen when I get up from my nap. So when people ask me, like, so on February 5th, I'm like, whoa, hey, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? I got a dry erase board of a month calendar in my kitchen. I get the next month behind it.
Right.
That's it. I have no idea where I'm performing next month. I do, actually, because I'm off this month. Next month, Blue Lake, California.
What's going on? Tell me about the
Blue Lake, California, the day before the Super Bowl at a casino, which apparently nobody's heard of Blue Lake because it's 5 hours north of San Francisco.
You've not been there, obviously.
No one's been there.
Really?
I'm just
It's
trusting.
a new club. It's a new club.
It's a casino, so I'm just trusting it's actually there. And then Long Island at Governor's at the end of the month. But then like March, I don't know. I don't want to know. It's too much.
Yeah. Too far down the line.
I remember being on a book tour to promote Gasping for Airtime, my first book. And that itinerary, being in Manhattan and having an itinerary from literally Don Imus, 6 a.m., 6:30, Fox and like, it was to the half hour all day. And I looked at it and I went, I can't. And this was 20 plus, like, I can't, I do not have the bandwidth. Like, my wife's great at it.
Yeah.
My wife juggles
she
thousands
has to be, right?
of plates.
Think about it.
And what might happen if that guy meets that guy and this person. And if he calls, I got to make sure I tell this person to say this. And no, I can't. I'm just a caveman. And
I mean, you guys are complete. I mean, that's what maybe
we
makes
are
it work.
complete opposites.
opposite.
But we are silly like teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, we like to make out and giggle and do stupid dog voices. Like my wife tells it, when she makes them dinner, they bark at her and she goes, no, you shut up. No, you shut up.
Dude, let me tell you something. I gotta tell you.
What do you call your wife? Do you call her April?
Yeah.
You don't have like a pet name?
Do I?
Because she calls you.
Yeah.
What?
Her middle name.
Oh, Hiromi. I call her by her middle name, her Japanese name. Hiromi.
Hiromi.
Yeah.
What'd she call you? I mean, other than
Gaijin.
horsecock.
Gaijing.
Gaijing?
Round eye.
No, she does not. That was so good. You had me. I was like, no. That'd be so
Round
great.
eye.
No, she. You know what she calls me?
Motherfuck you! You browse all day, you never buy.
What does she call me? You know.
Greasy?
When you always make fun of me. What she says? Fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Donut face?
Idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah. But that's with love.
Sounds like a real winner.
No, she's the best.
Never wants to have sex and calls you idiot.
She's hilarious. You know,
I love April.
Let me tell you something. Our favorite, my favorite set. I've seen you a bunch of times, right? was when you were performing for Yuckaholics.
I was fat.
You killed it.
I was
though.
fat then.
That was the year before last, I think, right? Or no, it was 2 years ago.
230. That would be a year before last, yes.
At Santa Monica High School, right?
You just said the same thing twice. You said it was the year before last. No, it was 2 years ago.
Dude, I've had a lot of coffee and donuts.
Oh, fair enough.
I have. But that was, you crushed
Thank you.
it. And I'm going to tell you something. We were in line. Me and April were in line to go see you. And then I'm sitting there talking to April. We're going into Santa Monica High School in the big auditorium, right? And they had all the windows, right? This revolves around sobriety. And I'm sitting in line. I start laughing, and April goes, "What are you laughing at?" And I go, "Man," I go, "when they kicked me out of Samo High, I go, I came back and I broke all those fucking windows." And I started laughing.
Strong move. I approve of that.
Right.
I mean, if you're kicked out, fuck it.
Yeah. And all these kids, and it became like this crazy frenzy where everybody started throwing rocks. And they saw me doing it.
Yeah.
was
Yeah. January 6th.
Fuck yeah. So then, my sponsor.
Nick stormed the Capitol January 5th. He wanted to get ahead of it.
I call my sponsor he goes, "How was Yuckaholics?" I go, "Oh man, it was great." And I go, and I remembered this time when I was a kid and I smashed all the windows. And he goes, "Wait a minute, what'd you do?" I go, "I smashed all the windows at Barnum Hall." And he goes, "I don't remember you telling me about that." And I had to go back and make an amends. And they were pretty blown away by that.
They always are, right?
Yeah, they go, "How old are you?"
I didn't have any like institutional amends.
What's that?
I didn't have any institutional amends. I
You
was,
didn't?
like a lone wolf, wrestler and comic. It's like being a monk.
You had to have
Like
some.
nobody can relate to anything you have to say or do.
You had to have some. How about financial amends?
Now we're talking.
Yeah, right. You see how I get all quiet?
No, because I just got ahead of it. Like 2 months ago, I was at Lunetta, and the speaker's like, "You know that financial amends, when the speaker mentions financial amends, you go, oh, shit." I was like, oh.
Yeah.
When I got divorced, I snuck back into the house. I used to buy my wife these Birkin bags,
Yeah.
and they're like 10 grand each. And so I went back to the house and I took them all out of the closet and I sold them on the black market for cash. I'm like, I'm gonna lose all my money in this divorce.
Right.
F it. But I bought them. And all I could hear was Cowboy Dan. Doesn't matter, dude.
Right.
So I like 3 months ago got ahead of that and cut her a check.
Feels good though, right?
Sure. I cut a lot
But
of
you're
checks.
free.
I'm divorced twice.
Right, but you're free.
Yeah.
That's the point.
You know, I hate when guys go, "How free do you want to be?"
Why?
Because there's only one free.
Well,
No.
why not? Why?
If you're in handcuffs but
it's a saying. It's just a saying.
it's a bad saying. So it's just like everything happens for a reason. Kids
that's
are
re-
dying.
that's-
That's
yeah,
fucking
that's-
bullshit to
it's
medicate
true,
yourself.
but it's stupid.
It's not true. Everything happens.
Right.
There's a matrix to the universe, and what Bukowski
But-
says.
but how free
what
do you wanna
matters
be?
most is how well you walk through the fire.
You know Al Sainz?
Yes.
Okay. Exactly. Al Sainz used to tell me this. I took a meditation class from him, and Al Sainz told me when his mom was going to leave me when I was making movies. I put us in the poorhouse. And that was it. And I could not get her back. And I was also so fucking angry because she wanted a divorce. And he said to me, he goes, "Nick," he said the same thing. "How free do you want to be?" And I go, "What do you mean?" I go, "That's stupid." He goes, "Well, you're like 50% free." He goes, "You're like this little boat."
Which means that's not free.
Right, but he says, my point is we don't want to overanalyze it. He says,
If I loosen your handcuffs, you're
do you
still
mean?
in handcuffs.
right,
If I take them off and they're hanging off of if they're hanging off of this wrist, I undid them, but they're still on that
Right.
wrist. In 3 hours, you're gonna go fucking crazy because you're not free. You got this fucking thing on your
right.
wrist.
But the point is, you know what I mean. It's just a
Fight.
saying. this fucking guy.
That'd be great.
Right.
That's good for podcasts.
That would be good.
It's just how free do you want to be? Like,
But it's just a saying.
but it's a bad saying because that means I'm able to settle at some level of freedom that I choose acceptable, and that's what got me into this mess in the first place.
But to me, that's overanalyzing, and I think.
I'm not an overanalyzer, bro.
Well, to me, it's
Fuck
just
you.
it's just a saying, Nick. It was just a saying. And when I had three and
That'd
a
be a
half,
good fight, 'cause
when
he's
I had
got that
3.5
rage.
years, I used to think those things too.
Are you a karate guy?
No. No,
I would never want to fight you. You scare me.
I had a lot of fights.
Yeah.
We don't get into that though.
No?
Nah.
In sobriety, I'm 1-0.
Who'd you fight?
There was a fight at the Alano Club. These two guys got into it at the bathroom, and one guy touched the other guy up. It got him pretty good. And so that happens. This is at the end of the meeting. And then when I go down the stairs at the Alano Club, the guy that got tatted up, he's at the bottom of the stairs, like just waiting for the other guy. And I'm like, bro, you got to get out of here, man. Like, this is a safe place. No, you guys got to take this shit somewhere else. The other guy comes down. The other guy's jacked, and I'll tell you he is off mic. He may or may not be the son of a world famous Oscar-winning actor. He comes down the stairs with his shirt off, like only a good white boy with muscles does. He's like, he comes down like it's on, like my man's straight hood somehow. And they just start going. And it's this dog pile, like in a cartoon where you just draw that ball of chaos and just an arm sticks out and a foot out there. It's literally, I'm like, it was amazing. Like, they're going. And it's somehow even, considering the one guy's like jacked and the other guy's just like a dirty, like, white boy. So he's got the dirt. And I just I'm like, who's going to break this up?
No.
David Cooper? Like these old white guys that are like, right on. When I was your age. So I'm like, yo. And I just grab a belt. And I just yank backwards, and it was not the muscle guy, it was the other guy, just turns to hit me, and I'm like, oh, no. We're going to sleep. So I just, rear naked choke him, and I put him to sleep. It was just.
In the meeting.
No, this is outside after the meeting.
In
Okay.
the alley?
Yeah. Like, to every man out there, don't ever put your head down. Like, just head up. It's all I say in a wrestling room. Head up, head up. So I put him to sleep, and we're outside the Alano Club, and he's on the sidewalk. They're like, the cops are coming. You got to hold him. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can keep a guy asleep for 22 minutes. So I let him wake up.
Right.
But the other guy's
crazy.
still standing there taking pictures of him going, fucking bitch ass. So this guy sees this guy when he wakes up and goes, so I'm like, all right, back to sleep. I'm like, all right, you gotta get out of here, man. You gotta get out. He's like, all right. And this guy wakes up and sees the other guy and goes, I'm like, back to sleep. So it was like, at one point I wanted to kiss his head. It was like, it's very intimate putting a guy out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird, intimate thing, like when you put a guy out.
What a meeting, though.
So that's so funny you said that. One of my sponsees had a seizure at his first meeting. I go, all right, meet me. It was the South Bay Alano Club in Hermosa Beach. And I go, meet me there. And he's like, great. I'm like, did you do gratitude list? He's like, yeah, sorry, I'm not done with it. I go, sure. So apparently he did a few chunky rails right before the meeting and drinking. So we're sitting in the meeting and it's like 10 people in a circle. And he looks at me and goes, I don't feel good, man. And it's me, him, and my buddy Sully's visiting. Oh, no, Sully lived there. Sorry, he moved. And Sully's a South Boston. His name's Sully, South Boston guy,
Yeah.
all tats everywhere. And he goes, I don't feel good, man. I go, when you go to the bathroom, put some water on your face. And as I say face, he just grand mal seizure.
Oh.
And he's flopping on the ground. And he's just, a lady's there taking a 20-year cake, this fat Mexican lady in a Mookie Betts jersey. She steps over his body. Keep coming back. Sober. And she starts doing her speech. There's a guy at her feet, like you just pulled a fish onto a boat, like. And I look up at Sully, and Sully goes, best meeting ever.
That's right. Right?
Best meeting ever.
Dude, I took.
Oh, real good. So we take him to the hospital, and there's a picture of him used on the Zoom screen. His pause screen is just him, like, in this wheelchair with oxygen. He's got crazy hair. And they take him into a room, and Sully's outside on his phone. I go, like, I'm just going to stay with my new sponsee. I'm early in recovery. I'm going to stay with my sponsee all day, show him how behind. I go outside, and Sully's got 16 years. He's on his phone. I go, so how long do we stay with him? He goes, 6 minutes. I go, 6 minutes? He goes, yeah. Let him sit in a hospital room and think about how fucked his life is right now. These are the consequences of his actions. I'm gonna get lunch. That's how I played my day.
Right.
I was like, oh, all right. It's amazing. I gotta go.
All right, brother.
I'll do this once a week if you want.
We love
You're
having
my
you.
guy.
This is so much fun.
It is fun, and I love what you did. I get the gym.
Well, this is our gym, right? And then we were like, when I was doing my one-man show, I was rehearsing my dance steps in here.
It's not going anymore, right?
No, it's going to start up again.
I gotta be less lazy. Well, at nighttime is family time, so I told you that.
Yeah.
But you're like, there's matinees. I'm like,
Oh, I did tell you that. The matinees were good.
that's when I was not returning your calls.
See?
I can't believe you said, fuck this guy. But you know what I love about that story? Is the guy you said that to, Johnny, him going, what? That made me feel so good. Like, AA is
everybody.
the only place my reputation is impeccable. You know, like we do
Well,
so
even
much.
Sean, he would go, he seems nice. He always gets back
Yeah, but
to me.
that's he seems nice is different than a, whoa, what?
Yeah,
Like
Johnny
that,
was shocked.
Yeah, good.
He was shocked. And I was, to be honest,
Because I don't like
shocked.
Johnny.
Yeah, I don't either. No, we love Johnny.
What, Shawnee?
Yeah. No, I didn't say he seems nice. I said he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean's one of those guys when he just checks in, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. Sean checked it. It's like Rustum called me yesterday. I was like, hi, Rustum. He's like, you picked up. I go, oh, yeah. Just not between 2 and 3:30. That's my nap time.
How'd you meet Dan real quick?
Oh, my God.
Because Dan travels with you everywhere.
Yeah, I bring 3 years, 10 months. I still roll with a sober companion. I love it. Why would I not?
Yeah.
So I went to an AA meeting just to go. I was loitering with intent to recover, right? And I just see this maniac Harley Davidson guy. He pulls up on a Harley. He's covered in tats. He's got the big Fu Manchu. He looks like Yosemite Sam. And I'm like, hey, he's like, how are you? I'm like, good. He's like, I'm JJ. And he's like, I'm Dan. How much time you got? I go, and I just lie. I go, next Sunday it'll be 2 years. Meanwhile, I like drank NyQuil on the way in and I'm snorting in the bathroom. Right. I go, next Sunday it'll be 2 years. He goes, whoa, I'm going to give you a cake Sunday. I go, awesome. Give me your number. This fucking guy calls me Monday. Can't wait to give you a cake Tuesday. Can't wait to give you a cake Sunday. I couldn't get out of it. So I went in Sunday and I took this fake fucking 2-year cake. Like it was my third meeting ever. Each one's like a year apart. And I'm like, I want to thank Dan because, he's always believed in me. So then when I left rehab, they're like, you got to get a sponsor. I'm like, I don't know anybody. I do know somebody. That crazy guy. I go, will you sponsor me? Oh, I'd love to. Let me tell you the best cowboy. You got to understand, this guy's an absolute maniac, and he's my spiritual advisor. We're at the airport, and he never met somebody he won't talk to and annoy. Like, he's just, how are you? Where are you headed? Like, you're on the plane. Where are you headed? Check the ticket. I'm going to the same place you're going. We're on a fucking airplane. I go, Dan, it's 6 a.m. Nobody wants to talk to you. I don't care. We're at Tampa Airport on a Sunday, 6 a.m. coming back. Florida on a Sunday morning. Everybody's just fucking crushed, especially at an airport. Everyone's just like, oh, my God. Me and Dan are sitting just like this, all empty seats. This black guy in a wheelchair is being wheeled with like 4 handlers, and they just put him right next to Dan. There's all these. So Dan's just like, hey, hi, were you here for business or pleasure? He goes, business. He goes, what do you do for a living? He goes, I'm a singer. He goes, have I ever heard of you? The guy goes, I'm Johnny Mathis. I go like this. It's fucking Johnny Mathis. And Dan goes, oh, you ever played China? He goes, I have. You ever sing in Chinese? He goes, yeah, I have. He goes, let me hear it. He's like grabbing him. He goes, let me hear it. 6:15 a.m., Tampa Airport. I'm 2 seats from Johnny Mathis going, for champagne.
No fucking way.
Chances are.
No way.
Free die, fuck die.
Wait, he's fucking singing?
I swear to God. On my life.
No fucking.
On my wife's
In a wheelchair?
eyes. He was in a wheelchair anymore. He just didn't want to walk through the airport because he's lazy.
Fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Then we're on the plane. I'm in first class. Dan's behind me. And I get up to, and Johnny Mathis is in front of me. I get up to take a piss, and as I'm coming back, Johnny Mathis sees me. He's like you're the guy that's with that guy. Like I'm Robin. I'm not Batman anymore.
That's fucking awesome. That's fucking so
That's
awesome.
Cowboy Dan. The magic
I love
of
it.
Cowboy. I go, yeah, he's the best. I love you, boy. What's the name of the podcast?
Unsavory fellow.
We're savory fellows today.
Dude, that was a savory conversation. Thank you so much.
Bro.
I love you, buddy.
Sweet and savory. I love you, Nick. Now that you have I got a new number.
I love Jay Mohr.
Hallo